Namaste, beautiful human being. Welcome to this second episode of the Initiate of the Rose Talks. My name is Gwendolyn Rachel and I share my inspiration with the intention to guide your awareness to your direct connection to the source of all life. I share this inspiration through a living body of work called the 7 Petals of the Rose. And I will share a little bit more deeply about this body of work, what these petals are, what they encompass. And also today specifically I would like to dive with you into the topic of self-initiation. So the 7 petals of the rose. The way I like to view these petals is as representing specific qualities. And I call these qualities divine qualities. For example, faith and compassion, unconditional love. And the path of the rose, as we discussed, it is a spiraling pathway, non-linear. And as we walk from petal to petal through our life's journey, every now and then we reach what I call a new frequency. So I shared with you before this metaphor of the octave. So when you would see these 7 petals as musical notes walking from one petal to the second until we reach again the first one, which would be the 8th, which is the octave, there is the reaching of a new frequency. So you might walk the exact same pathway, seemingly exactly the same, the exact same spiral, yet you walk it in a new frequency. So for this topic of self-initiation, we will come back to this spiraling pathway and these 7 petals and these qualities. This is why I wanted to mention this at the beginning. Self-initiation, what does it really mean? Well, it means to initiate yourself, which it would bring up the question, who is initiating who? And that connects then again to the principle that you as a human are connected to a source of life which is bigger than you. And I call this soul, your higher self, or your Christ or Buddha self. And this self is capable to initiate you in all these divine qualities, because these divine qualities are inherently yours. They've never left you. And the one who is initiated is the human being, the character, so you can see that you play in this lifetime. And I also would like to link this path of self-initiation to the times we are living in. As we come out of a long period in which it was very common to be initiated by another human being. So it was a period that some also refer to as the age of the guru. And you would go to a teacher learn their skills, study for years with them, and then you get initiated. Now, the mystery school is our modern day life. So, our modern day life is also our path of initiation. And this is why all these mystery school teachings are now to be applied into daily life. And this is why these qualities are so important. And coming back to these 7 petals, obviously there are many more than 7 divine qualities. The way I'd like to see this, together with this image of the rose and the spiraling pathway, is that each time there are different qualities that really intertwine with a cycle, and they are being highlighted. So you step perhaps from faith into deeper trust and into clarity. And perhaps another time you step from presence to self-forgiveness to compassion, which is a topic in itself. All of these qualities are topics unto itself, which we could talk about for a long time, and then we would also see that there are more steps that come together. And also you might see that on one journey, in one cycle, even though one quality might be ignited very strongly, different other qualities are also being brought into a certain endeavor. So it's much more than one that gets ignited. And the way I personally approach this in work one-on-one with people on longer courses or in group courses is that we define the intention, and then we define which qualities we would like to learn to embody, and then we choose the 7 main petals to embark on that particular journey and come to one cycle, and we create something out of that, whether that's in a one-on-one case, a specific desire that somebody wants to create to serve life for their own hearts and the hearts of their community members, whether that's an actual play and performance with dance, music, song. That also, the process incorporates all these qualities and then can be applied in different ways to the lives of the people and spread out through their embodiment. So this word embodiment and learning to embody, I have mentioned it a couple of times, so we will also go into that and also connect that to the times we live in. So there are many prophecies about this time we are living in. And these prophecies, they all are pointing to the same thing in different words. As you will also hear me say the same things over and over and over and over again in these talks, because it is the same core that I'm pointing to with several words, and one word and one quality or situation might apply more to you than others and might ignite something within you. So these prophecies, they are talking about this process of bringing heaven to earth. They are talking about this process of ascension. They are talking about this returning of innocence, of light shining onto darkness. And the way I view that, connected to this path of the rose, which is also the hero's journey, the way I view that is that we are learning in this lifetime to bring these qualities into our physical reality. So we learn to incorporate, to embody these qualities. And you could see these qualities, these divine qualities, as light. And you could see the not-self themes, the characters that we've learned to play, that have formed out of coping strategies, as darkness. So we shine out with our divine qualities that come from our higher self, light onto all these false selves. They are being illuminated and then brought into the light, and that creates then the space for us to choose the divine quality over the false identity. So that's, in short, the process that you and I, are living. And as I mentioned previously, whether you are walking consciously on this path or you are living your life without giving this process any thought or contemplation, you are still walking it to some extent, because you came here from an intention of your soul, and your soul's intention is stronger than just the thoughts you are thinking with your mind. And what brings magic and ease to this process is when you align your thoughts, your mind, with the intention of your soul. And you can actually do that in very simple ways. And simply setting the intention for yourself is already powerful. Merely acknowledging that within you. Even when you hear me speak these words, perhaps you feel already within your body a sensation of ease with this alignment. Because when your soul is saying one direction and your thoughts and mind are saying another one, you're fighting against yourself, and this makes life very hard. And a lot of people are in this position, unfortunately, where they are fighting against themselves. And this fighting against yourself, it creates so much suffering. So, what you could say, for example, is, I surrender my free will to the will of my higher self. Or I surrender the thoughts and the will of my mind to the will of divinity. There are several ways you can play with this. You can make your own prayer or intention out of it. The more you can make it yours, the more effective it will be. what this is really about is your intention. So your intention is that which you would like to move toward, to move from. And directly also your intention is your ally in a process of self-initiation. So your soul has already, from this whole perspective, decided that you will be initiated into these divine qualities. And life will give you opportunity after opportunity to initiate you into these qualities. So I feel a very apparent one would be patience. So patience as a divine quality is something, it is a quality that most people find very, very difficult to embody. And that's because it is so much against what society, most of society tells us. So also seeing these opportunities as initiations is what allows you to take ownership of your experience and your life, which is simultaneously this taking ownership, moving from a state that a lot of my teachers and I call spiritual infancy into spiritual maturity. So, for example, if you want to create prosperity and you want to have it now and you're doing all the inner work to create more financial means, you're still coming from an agenda, and maybe you're gonna succeed with that, yet at some point also the initiation of patience will be there waiting for you. Because patience, it's connected to the embodiment of that peace, that passeth all understanding. It can be embodied only when you are connected consciously to that deep knowing that lives, it does live inside of you, that everything is always in order, everything is happening in the right place at the right time. And that which is yours can never be taken away from you. So it will come, if it's yours, at the right place, the right time, in the right place. So let me just see. Yeah, so zooming out of that perspective of patience a little bit and coming back into this general walking of the rose path, what we see is that when we commit to this rose path, it is a process of self-initiation, and committing to walking the spiraling pathway of the rose equals aligning your intention, your free will, with the will of your soul. So this whole path of the rose, it is a metaphor for that aligning. And the way to initiate yourself can also be as saying, I commit to the rose path. Even I commit to the hero's journey, depending on what you resonate with most. Perhaps you find your own phrasing for this. Or perhaps you start with some of the suggestions I've given, and one day you wake up and you find that different words come out of your mouth. So a great way also to practice this is to remind yourself, because probably you've been walking through your life without being this conscious of the possibility to live in this coherence. And it takes a lot of reminding and of nervous system regulation to stay present in this journey. So again, for nervous system regulation and also for feeling that peace, I would highly recommend to give it a try, to put a hand on your heart and a hand on your hara womb area, connecting these two centers, taking a couple of deep breaths, and then speaking your intention. And working with intention also not only for a longer period of time, but also, for example, for a day or just for a conversation. Perhaps there is a conversation in which you know you are triggered, and then you can say to yourself, okay, before I go into this conversation, I will set my intention that my higher self is going to speak for me. It's going to speak on my behalf. And perhaps your intention is relationship repair, or is harmony, or is standing your ground in a respectful way. And then there is a certain trust that gives a space for your higher self to come in. And with that relief of tension, it's so much easier to also truly listen to the other person. And then you're initiating yourself in divine speech. So you see, there are many ways of doing this, and you can see each day as an adventure of initiation. And again, each challenge also as an initiation. And it's also okay when something happens that you really don't like, to acknowledge that you really feel angry, frustrated, sad, and maybe you feel like a victim. And it's not to not feel that, it's to embrace yourself within that. And then you can slowly, when you're ready, move into a more expansive perspective where you see, okay, wow, this actually is a great opportunity, and it's an initiation of life for me to learn the specific quality that you can see you're learning, and perhaps there are even more qualities simultaneously. And it's also okay that that is a lot at the same time. So these things of these aspects of feeling your feelings and acknowledging what is happening for you internally, next to this expansive perspective they are together. So it's not one or the other, it's you're human and divine, and that's the great, beautiful paradox of this journey. And perhaps you would like to incorporate practices such as meditation. And meditation, it can look on the outside like so many different things. You don't have to sit quiet and still. You can walk in nature. Perhaps you like surfing. The point of the practice of meditation is bringing awareness and presence to your inner world. And then allowing also that regulation of your nervous system so that you can shift into this more expansive perspective. So perhaps you need to move to feel that expansion in your body. You move first and then you come to stillness, or first you come to stillness and then you move. Every body is different and asks for a different approach. And within these approaches, listening is such a huge quality. And that is, in essence, what we are doing as well with these practices of meditation. We are learning how to listen more and more deeply to our inner reality, and then all of what we are listening to, inside and outside of us, it becomes one. And when you shift into this more expansive perspective and you view your life through that lens of your higher self, you can do that in meditation, or perhaps you like to write, or you practice with asking questions in meditation, connecting consciously to the web of life or the Akashic records. You ask your questions and you allow insights to drop. And then you see your life's path as if you are an eagle, a bird flying above your experience and seeing much more clearly, oh, this is happening because I'm being initiated into this quality. And then you come back into your daily life and then you maintain that perspective and you act from that perspective. And at some point also this merges, so your daily life and just moving and interacting becomes your meditation. It becomes one. And then perhaps at some point you feel that your system, your body is asking for regulation. You take yourself out of life. You are with your experience and you take a conscious contemplation space. Then you come back. And sometimes this is really important because in the process of embodying your true self, you will find that you are being confronted with all the ways society has programmed you with how you should be, and how the world around you is perhaps oftentimes, perhaps even a lot of the times, acting out of the false selves rather than the divine selves. And that within a lot of your relationships, the love, it's based on conditions rather than a flow of giving and receiving, which is unconditional. And here I want to come in because unconditional love, it is a quality that it takes a lot of practice to incorporate that as a human being. And when I speak about these prophecies, bringing heaven to earth, which is the process of ascension happening in the body by incorporating these divine qualities, it is a bar we can have, an intention, a intention. So, even so when I say this bringing heaven to earth, it is an intention we can have. So it's a bar. And it doesn't mean we have to live up to that perfectly. Also, when we say we surrender our free will to the divine will, it is a prayer we say, and we're using prayer as a spiritual technology. And then we do our very best to keep up with that prayer. And it's a tricky dance because it can be quite easy to get caught up into either despair or wanting to do it perfect, which is okay that it's not perfect. And within that lies also a medicine. So that is again an initiation onto itself. So I would like to close here for this transmission. May you find that peace that passeth all understanding within you. May you experience it, and may you feel it present in your life, especially in difficult situations, and may it guide you in all ways. Thank you for taking the time here with me for this contemplation. I'm radiating all my love to you from my heart to your heart. Until the next one. Namaste.